January 2025 brings intense drama as Rendani clashes with her family over her mother's funeral, and power struggles escalate at Hayani Holdings. Kosi faces tough choices between fatherhood and his love for bubbles, while Kensani battles addiction. Teboho's schemes threaten to unravel everything, and secrets are exposed as alliances shift. Who will come out on top, and who will be destroyed in this web of betrayal and ambition? On Wednesday, 1st of January 2025, episode 103 will bring a highly charged moment as Rendani finds herself outraged after discovering that she has been excluded from her mother Hangwani's funeral program. Feeling deeply insulted, she retaliates in the most dramatic fashion, announcing a royal burial for Hangwani and declaring that Kensani is not welcome to attend. The stage is set for intense family drama and unresolved tensions. Meanwhile, Kosi finds himself plagued by a vivid dream, which forces him to confront his own future as a father and his devotion to Bubbles. As his emotions run high, his reflection on fatherhood creates a deep internal struggle. Elawani, on the other hand, faces her own struggles as a new guest leaves without paying, and she's forced to deal with another demanding visitor. Just when things seem to settle, her day takes a turn for the worse as she's tasked with preparing an extravagant meal. Mulalo offers his advice to Kosi, urging him not to give up on fatherhood simply for the sake of his relationship with Bubbles. But will Kosi take the advice to heart? Thursday, 2nd of January 2025 brings an equally intense episode 104, where the stakes are higher than ever after Hangwani's will is read, revealing that everything is left to Rendani, including the authority to manage Kensani's share of the estate. The revelation leaves Kensani fuming with fury, and it seems like a new war is about to begin. Meanwhile, Kosi continues to grapple with his emotions as he confides in a photo of Reneelwa, struggling with the decision to destroy her eggs in an attempt to move forward with Bubbles. Elawani, desperate to manage her Airbnb business, admits her struggles to Chino, revealing the complexities of dealing with a difficult guest. But just as things seem to settle, Itseng surprises Nemezzo with a special dinner, only for Imani to arrive unexpectedly, throwing everything into disarray and leaving Nemezzo uncomfortably torn between loyalties. As secrets begin to unravel, one can only wonder how far each character will go to protect their own interests. On Friday, 3rd of January 2025, episode 105 will unfold with a deeply emotional moment as Teboho tries to rekindle intimacy with James, but her attempts are hindered by his unresolved issues with her past connection to Aswindini. Meanwhile, Muvhango receives the unexpected news that although he passed his tests, he must complete in-service training. In his determination to move forward, he turns to Aswindini, asking for the opportunity to train at Hayani. However, Kensani's troubles take a dark turn as she arrives at Rendani's house seeking refuge, only for her drug test results to come back positive. Now, Rendani is forced to decide how to handle this difficult situation. Meanwhile, Teboho smugly boasts about manipulating Aswindini with a rape accusation, triggering Ndemezzo's emotional breakdown. His emotions spill over when he visits Imani unexpectedly, insisting that they need to have a serious conversation. But where will this conversation lead? On Monday, 6th of January 2025, episode 106 will open with Mulalo extending an olive branch to Aswindini, offering to be his inside man at Hayani. But Aswindini, full of pride and suspicion, rejects the offer, throwing Mulalo out in dramatic fashion. Meanwhile, Muvhango embarks on his new job with high hopes, only to be taken aback when Dr. Timber hands him overalls and a makaraba instead of a desk, leaving Muvhango questioning his new reality. As if his day wasn't difficult enough, Ndemezzo continues to struggle with his conflicting feelings for Imani, unable to shake off the emotional turmoil from their recent encounter. Kensani, meanwhile, opens up to Rendani about her ongoing battle with addiction, pleading for her support. But will Rendani be able to offer the compassion Kensani desperately needs? Tuesday, 7th of January 2025 ushers in episode 107, where the drama intensifies as Butchilo and Ndwakulu are outraged by Aswindini's revelation that Mulalo is now collaborating with Teboho. The shockwaves of this news reverberate throughout Hayani, and Mulalo finds himself at the heart of a brewing storm. Senior staff members at Hayani begin to voice their concerns about Teboho's aggressive takeover, and the negative reputation she's beginning to generate is felt across the business. Meanwhile, Nemezzo surprises Itseng by apologizing for his recent behavior, but his gesture is short-lived when he drops a bombshell and suggests they end their relationship. As tensions mount, Ndwakulu goes on the offensive, physically attacking Mulalo, forcing Butchilo and Rendani to intervene and play the role of peacekeepers. And in a private moment, Aswindini confides in Dr. Timber, revealing the shocking truth about how Teboho manipulated the situation to gain control of Hayani Holdings. On Wednesday, 8th of January 2025, episode 108 will see Dr. Timber surprising Teboho with a declaration of support, offering to help her further her ambitions. However, Teboho, ever confident, turns her down, instead finding herself victorious when Dr. Timber decides to remain with Hayani Holdings. In the meantime, Nomvula urgently calls Muvhango, but it turns out to be for a trivial task, delivering her package as part of his training. Nemezzo, on the other hand, confides in Itseng about his desire to confront his abuser, and she stands by him, offering her full support. But in a surprising twist, Teboho, fed up with James's ongoing silent treatment, offers him a belt to punish her, which leads to a passionate and intense moment between them. This, however, causes James to agree to return to Hayani Holdings, but with one condition: he must be appointed CEO. The power struggle continues to rise, leaving the future of Hayani Holdings hanging in the balance. On Thursday, 9th of January 2025, episode 109 will bring the tension to a boiling point as Teboho tries to negotiate with James over his position at Hayani. But James stands firm, demanding nothing less than the title of CEO. His refusal to compromise sets the stage for a battle of wills that could reshape the future of the company. Aswindini, already reeling from Dr. Timber's decision to side with Teboho, is further hurt when he learns of James's new role. Seizing the opportunity, Aswindini begins to plot, considering how he might use James as a pawn to expose Teboho's darkest secrets. Meanwhile, Imani, in an attempt to define her relationship with Nemezzo, is met with rejection when he dismisses her advances. Later, her bold attempt to seduce him is coldly rebuffed, leaving Imani feeling frustrated and uncertain about her future with Nemezzo. Friday, 10th of January 2025 marks episode 110, where emotions run high and secrets start to unravel. Nemezzo, overwhelmed by the weight of his emotions, has a breakdown, only to have Teboho walk in and witness his vulnerability. This raw moment of emotional exposure leaves Nemezzo feeling exposed and uncertain about what comes next. Meanwhile, Bubbles grows curious and questions Imani about her past, asking whether Nemezzo is still her favorite ex. However, Imani avoids giving a direct answer, leaving Bubbles even more suspicious. Aswindini, meanwhile, takes matters into his own hands and begins investigating Nkele's murder, bribing a police officer to gain access to the case docket. His search for the truth only intensifies when Ndwakulu sneaks into James's house, looking for the missing gun. Later, Imani cancels her meeting with Nemezzo, prompting him to track her live location, which sends their relationship into deeper turmoil. On Monday, 13th of January 2025, episode 111 will kick off with Aswindini trying desperately to convince Dr. Timber of Teboho's instability and possible involvement in Nikile's murder. However, Dr. Timber dismisses his claims, causing Aswandini's frustration to grow. Nemezzo, meanwhile, becomes more possessive, growing increasingly jealous as he demands to know who Imani is texting. Imani, asserting her independence, reminds him firmly that they are not in a relationship. In a lighter moment, Elawani, inspired by Chino, writes a heartfelt and cheesy poem for Buchilo, who is deeply touched by her gesture. On the darker side of things, Mulalo, eager to expose Teboho's manipulative schemes, tries to recruit Nomvula as his spy. However, she refuses to cooperate, leaving Mulalo to find another way to uncover the truth. Tuesday, 14th of January 2025 brings episode 112, where tensions escalate further as Aswandini confronts James, accusing him of being an accomplice in Kile's murder. James, however, denies any involvement and is unwavering in his defense, leaving Aswandini even more suspicious. Meanwhile, Bubbles continues to probe Imani about her relationship with Ndamezzo, prompting Itseng to make a surprising discovery: Imani is secretly seeing someone. Later, Itseng witnesses Imani and Ndamezzo sharing a hug, putting the pieces of the puzzle together. The situation becomes even more charged when Aswandini arrives at Teboho and James's home with the police and a search warrant, setting the stage for a high-stakes confrontation. On Wednesday, 15th of January 2025, episode 113 will open with Aswandini growing increasingly frustrated as he searches for the missing gun, only to have Enendawakulu confess to breaking into James's house. Meanwhile, James and Teboho, now fully aware of the escalating tensions, discuss hiding evidence of their crimes, but Mulalo overhears their conversation, placing him in a prime position to turn the tables. On a lighter note, Buchilo surprises Elelwani with a dance lesson, but his clumsy moves provide some much-needed comedic relief amidst the chaos. The tension continues to rise as the secrets and lies surrounding Hayani Holdings and the characters' personal lives begin to surface. Thursday, 16th of January 2025 will feature episode 114, where Teboho takes a bold step by publicly announcing her resignation, making way for Aswandini's return to Hayani Holdings. But Aswandini, ever the schemer, hints to Rendani that he has more plans in store to bring about Teboho's downfall. Meanwhile, Imani confronts Itseng about her cold behavior, only to be told that their friendship no longer works, leaving Imani hurt and confused. Elawani surprises Buchilo with a heartfelt mini-movie showcasing their moments together, adding a touch of romance amidst the drama. Friday, 17th of January 2025 brings episode 115, where Teboho's suspicions about James grow when he decides to stay at Hayani. She begins to question his motives, but James reassures her that his decision is for their sake. Meanwhile, Madamechius surprises Sakali with an unannounced visit, determined to introduce him to Pedi heritage despite Sakali's resistance. Muvhango, still desperately trying to win over Chino, leaves a love letter for her. However, when Chino misses it, Ndwakulu finds the letter and decides to prank Muvhango in an unexpected twist. In a shocking revelation, Shaz confides in Susan, admitting that she is pregnant but refusing to disclose the father's identity, leaving everyone in suspense about the mysterious father. On Monday, 20th of January 2025, episode 116 will kick off with Madamecha enlisting Nomvula's help to plan a special birthday surprise for Dr. Timber. The surprise goes off without a hitch, but Muvhango's romantic gestures towards Chino are not met with the response he expected. Meanwhile, Shaz and Susan shock Dr. Timber by showing up at her door for a traditional prenatal ceremony, causing an awkward confrontation. Sakali, meanwhile, continues to deny being involved in Shaz's pregnancy, despite the mounting suspicion that he might be the father. Mulalo, finally reconciling with Aswandini, expresses his gratitude. But Kosi struggles with guilt over spying on Aswindini, creating an internal conflict that may affect his next steps. Tuesday, 21st of January 2025 features episode 117, where the surprises continue as Sakeli, Madimecha, and Nomvula further surprise Dr. Timber with a heartfelt birthday party. However, the mood shifts dramatically when Indiwabo visits the Vakwevo household and overhears Shaz talking to her unborn child, revealing that Sakeli is the father. This revelation sends shockwaves through the family. James and Teboho, preparing for the birthday party, discuss Teboho's determination to retrieve the missing gun, setting the stage for a dangerous game of cat and mouse. Meanwhile, Aswindini and James begin discussing the possibility of forming an alliance against Teboho, as their shared animosity toward her grows. Wednesday, 22nd of January 2025, brings episode 118, where Madimecha surprises Dr. Timber with an unusual invitation in the parking lot, which she surprisingly accepts. Meanwhile, Muvhango persuades Butchilo to let him use Waterside for his date with Shino, promising to clean up afterward. However, things take a turn when Sakeli confronts Madimecha about his intentions with Dr. Timber and warns him to stay away. Sakeli then attempts to explain himself to Indiwabo, but the damage is done, and Indiwabo ultimately decides to end their relationship, leaving Sakeli feeling isolated. Madimecha, undeterred, suggests to Dr. Timber that they should resolve the ongoing issue with Sakeli, but how will this conversation unfold? Thursday, 23rd of January 2025 marks episode 119, where Dr. Timber's loved ones gather to bid her farewell before her overseas trip, leaving an air of sadness hanging over the day. Meanwhile, Shaz, still processing her pregnancy, visits the commune to collect her belongings, but is confronted by Elawani, who challenges her about her decisions. Later, Shaz confides in Susan, sharing her uncertainty about her pregnancy and how far along she actually is. The tension reaches a boiling point when Muvhango eagerly prepares for his date with Shino, only for someone else to show up, throwing his plans into disarray. As if the situation wasn't complicated enough, Teboho attempts to convince Nemezzo to rejoin her schemes, but he firmly resists, leaving Teboho frustrated and vengeful. On Friday, 24th of January 2025, episode 120 will see Shaz remaining adamant that she is pregnant, despite the sonogram showing otherwise, raising doubts from Susan. Teboho vents her frustration to James about her inability to locate the missing gun, and while James advises her to abandon her feud with the Mukwebhos, he privately suggests that the gun's disappearance might work in their favor. Meanwhile, the boys reminisce about their fun night together, leading Muvhango to propose a boys-only party at the commune. However, Teboho's unsettling encounter with a mysterious man, who accuses her of botching Nkele's assassination, leaves her startled and suspicious, adding even more tension to her already dangerous situation. On Monday, 27th of January 2025, episode 121 will see James trying to initiate intimacy with Teboho, but she remains distracted by thoughts of her unsettling encounter with Kalima, leaving their relationship strained. Susan, still worried about Shaz, asks Muvhango to help keep an eye on her while also ensuring the truth about her fabricated pregnancy stays hidden. Nomvula informs Sakeli about Kalima's unexpected return, warning him not to mention Kalima's visit to Dr. Timber. Meanwhile, Aswindini urges James to dig deeper and find concrete evidence against Teboho, pushing James further into a dangerous game. As the stakes rise, Teboho receives a mysterious package containing a hidden message, hinting at a secret meeting that could change everything. Tuesday, 28th of January 2025, episode 122 will continue with Teboho waking up from a dream about Kalima, still feeling unsettled. James interrupts her thoughts, leaving Teboho distracted, and unsure about her next move. Rendani heads to Venda to assist Susan in figuring out how to help Shaz, who wakes up convinced that the previous day's events were just a nightmare. Meanwhile, Kalima and Teboho bond over his extensive gun collection, a connection that deepens when Kalima drops her off and she asks for his number, receiving it in a unique and cryptic manner. Muvhango and Buchilo argue when the girls invited by Muvhango show up at the party, leading to further complications and tensions. Wednesday, 29th of January 2025, brings episode 123, where James compliments Teboho after a night together, but she remains preoccupied with thoughts of Kalima, leaving their relationship hanging by a thread. The girls arrive at the party to find the couch missing, which confuses the boys. Muvhango explains that the DJ took the couch due to unpaid fees, angering Ndwakulu and Buchilo. In a disturbing turn, Shaz holds both Sakali and Ndawabo hostage at the commune, showing signs of a mental breakdown. Teboho, meanwhile, shares a passionate encounter with Kalima, marking the beginning of their illicit relationship. As Shaz spirals, Sakali reveals that the sonogram proves she isn't pregnant, pushing Shaz further into emotional chaos. On Thursday, 30th of January 2025, episode 124 will feature Teboho reflecting on her night with Kalima, disregarding Demezzo's warnings about getting involved with the mysterious man. Meanwhile, the family faces the difficult decision of whether to send Shaz to a psychiatric facility, but Sakali asks the housemates to protect her without exposing her condition. Teboho, meanwhile, joins Kalima and a group of high rollers in a tense poker game, where the stakes are raised even higher as she tries to uncover Kalima's hidden agenda. The mounting drama leads to a series of confrontations, with everyone questioning their loyalties and the tangled web of secrets beginning to take its toll on all involved. On Friday, 31st of January 2025, episode 125 will bring the tension to a breaking point as the consequences of Teboho's actions come to the forefront. Teboho, caught between her manipulative schemes and her growing attraction to Kalima, struggles to balance her personal desires with her ambitions. Meanwhile, Shaz's mental state deteriorates further as she lashes out, causing turmoil in the commune. Sakali and Ndiwabo work together to try and prevent her from spiraling out of control, but their efforts seem futile. In the midst of this, James receives a threatening message that forces him to reconsider his alliances, as he becomes increasingly suspicious of Teboho's true intentions. As the day unfolds, a shocking betrayal threatens to tear apart the fragile alliances within Hayani Holdings, leaving everyone questioning who they can trust. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the episode, give it a thumbs up, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. Be sure to check out my next video, coming up right now.